The Taoiseach finishing leaders' questions there, and all three opposition leaders raised the same issue, the issue of the new scheme for graduate nurses. And we go straight to our politician guest this morning, Brian Stanley, Sinn Féin TD for Laois Offaly, who's in our Leinster House studio. Brian Stanley, the Taoiseach sticking to the line there. This is about jobs. This is an extra 1,000 nursing jobs, and the opposition should welcome it.
Well, the government would claim that, and I think that it's ironic that this is coming from the Labour Party. We had the nurses' unions in yesterday on this matter, and there's huge concern not just among nurses but also among low and middle grade ranks right across the public sector, and indeed some people in the public sector who are watching this carefully, because people aren't fools. If the government get away with reducing the pay for graduate nurses, this will spread like contagion right across the public and private sector. And they could take the alternative of dealing with the issue of agency staff. They could take the alternative that we've put forward in our budget for the last 3 to 4 years in regard to the cutting the salaries of those on over 100,000. In fact, my own preference maybe might be even lower than that. And that's an issue. That's a way they could have dealt with those. That could have dealt with this. Yeah,
but Mary Lou McDonald made the same point. Why don't you reduce the number of agency staff? But in effect, isn't that what they're doing? Because at 1,000, according to Mary Lou McDonald again, 1,000 agency positions will disappear under this.
And the pay of those on over 100,000. There are hundreds of people right across the health services earning salaries of over 100,000, and that issue has to be tackled. One of the other issues that has to be tackled is the multiple pensions, and I mean you have the former leader of the Labour Party, Dick Spring, who's on a grand total of 121,000 between a TD's pension and a ministerial pension, and he's now on the boards of various different companies and banks. So that issue has to be dealt with. Also, we can't come along and pick on these young graduate nurses, penalise them, turn them into yellow pack workers, and the contagion of that will spread right across the public sector.
But isn't the point that
the unions aren't fools?
Yeah, but isn't the point the government is making that this is a scheme that will give them employment experience and allow them to move on to another job?
No, what's happening is these people are going to move overseas, and that's very clear from the take-up of this scheme. People are not taking this up. We need these nurses in this country because the demographics, we have a population increase. The demographics is that we're all getting older. We're going to need these nurses over the next 10, 20, 30 years. If we lose them, we're going to find ourselves recruiting more agency nurses in 3, 4 or 5 years' time. That's the key point here. We have to start planning on a 5, 10, 15 and 20 year basis, not on sound bites from the Taoiseach.
Okay, Brian.